Hey everyone, Nick Espinosa, your chief security fanatic here, and it is Sunday, so we are doing Breaches of the Week. Though, truth be told, I'm actually recording this on Saturday evening due to a previous engagement today on Sunday, so if anything major happens or bombs drop, believe me, I will cover it next week. Now, before we begin, I'd like to thank the following people that sent me messages, tagged me, linked me, emailed me, sent me smoke signals, whatever it was, to get me this information, and guys, it always helps me out. Thank you very much. So, Chris Fallon, Jason Dance, David Walker, and Jacqueline Wolf, as always, thank you. And if you have a tip for me, please feel free to give it to me in any way, shape, or form that you can, and I will be sure to give you a shout out on my next video. Now, with that, let's start with the University of California at San Francisco, because they apparently just paid criminal hackers $1.14 million this month to resolve a ransomware attack. The hackers apparently encrypted data on servers inside the School of Medicine, and this is according to the university this past Friday, while researchers at UCSF are among the leading coronavirus related antibody research and testing. The attack apparently did not impede their work, fortunately, into their antibody testing, and the university is working with, obviously, a team of cybersecurity contractors and probably law enforcement to restore this information as soon as possible. Moving on, let's go to the country of Indonesia, because security researchers at Cyble discovered over 230,000 Indonesian COVID-19 patient records leaked into the dark web. Now, the threat actor is offering around 230,000+ records in one dark web market, and this leak dump includes names, addresses, present address, which apparently is different, telephone number, citizenship, diagnosis date, result date, and much more information. So heads up, if you've had or been diagnosed with COVID-19 in Indonesia, your information may be out there. Moving on, let's talk about social media giant Twitter, because they have begun contacting a number of business users in relation to apparently a long-standing data security issue that may have seen these businesses have their personal information exposed, providing a highly set of circumstances has occurred in your life. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because Twitter told the affected users that before May 20th of this year, if they viewed their billing information on ads.twitter.com or analytics.twitter.com, data including email addresses, phone numbers, the last 4 digits of credit card numbers, and billing addresses may have been stored in their web browser's cache. Now, because most browsers generally store such data for a given period by default, if an affected user, let's say, was sharing the computer, it would then be accessible for another user that could basically access and view this data. And so that obviously is a very serious issue that Twitter has closed. But basically, if I am going and doing this stuff and then you sit down in front of my computer, you can possibly access a lot of information from me that you shouldn't have access to, even if I had logged out of Twitter. So they have fixed that. Hopefully we're moving on. And we are indeed, because we're heading to India and talking about Indian Railways. And this article is coming basically via Google Translate, so please bear with me here. But apparently they were hit with a malware attack from Pakistan, China, and others, and train movement data was apparently stolen. Again, please bear with me here. They are blaming APT36, or Advanced Persistent Threat 36, which is a Pakistan-linked group that is known for using coronavirus-themed phishing lures. And so I suspect that Indian Railways got hit this way, but heads up, if you use Indian Railways, your data may have been breached. Let's stick with India, though, and talk about an Indian conglomerate called India Bulls Group. They got hit by ransomware, leading to the exposure of confidential data, of the financial services group of this company. Now, the group is involved in this breach. The group that actually performed the breach has now vowed to leak more data. Now, they were attacked by the Clop ransomware operators, which is very similar to Revil and Maze, which will basically encrypt your data and then put it out there for proof that they have this, and if you don't pay, they will go ahead and expose your data. So hopefully India Bulls Group will get that straightened out, and if you have anything to do with them, heads up to you. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Stalker Online. This is apparently an MMO, which is a game that has 1.3 million gamers that use or play this game. Usernames, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, and IP addresses were leaked online. Now, Stalker Online explained that the passwords were stored only in MD5, which is basically a very weak hash that is one of the easiest ones to crack. And 2 databases of theirs were found on basically dark web sites as part of a dark web monitoring project taken by a research outfit who found this. And one of these contains 1.2 million records, and another one has 136,000 records. And it would appear if a malicious hacker compromised Stalker Online's web server before stealing the user data and then posting a link to the official website as proof. So if you play Stalker Online, heads up to you. Moving on, we're going to be talking about a company or a website called Preen.me. Now, apparently this is a social media marketing firm, and they basically got the personal data of an estimated 100,000 social media influencers hit because it's been accessed and partially leaked. Now, the same breach also led to more than 250,000 media users social media users, having their information fully exposed on a dark web hacking forum, and basically, obviously, they are now exposed. And we are talking about influencers' social media links, email addresses, names, phone numbers, and home addresses. It was also noted that the affected appeared to be associated usually with the cosmetic or lifestyle related content. So if you're a social media influencer for cosmetics or lifestyle content, heads up if you use Preen.me. Moving on, let's talk about Asian media firm E27. They got hit with a cyber attack that was conducted by a hacking group that's been identifying themselves as Korean Hacker and or Team John Wick. And I've talked about these guys in the last couple of weeks as well. In an email sent to Bleeping Computer, this group is claimed to have stolen the source code and database of E27, which contains email addresses, mobile phone numbers, passwords, other documentations, profile images, etc., apparently. And as proof of this attack, they've provided images to the server's file system and database. Now, Team John Wick is also asking E27 for a quote-unquote small donation to learn how they were hacked to help E27 fix their vulnerabilities. How nice of them. Moving on, let's talk about, we're going to head back to India, and we're going to be talking about online marketplace IndiaMart. They just got hit and leaked sensitive data of more than 40,000 of their suppliers, and this is being sold in online forums. And apparently 44,000 records appears to be for sale on 2 different dark web sites. I don't have much more than that, but heads up if you are a supplier for IndiaMart. Moving on, let's talk about the quote-unquote secure messaging app of Telegram, because they just said a data breach has exposed a database containing the personal information of millions of users. The database, which was exposed on a dark web forum, included users' phone numbers, unique Telegram user IDs, and other key indicators, according to the reports that I've been reading. Telegram, though, reportedly, interestingly enough, said that this leak ended up being very outdated, with 84% of it being collected before mid-2019 and around 60% of it being inaccurate. So if you're in the 40% that uses Telegram with accurate information, heads up, you might be hit. That's not good because Telegram obviously promotes themselves as very secure. Moving on, let's talk about Leduff America Incorporated. This apparently is the American or US-based version of the French Leduff restaurant group. They had an email account hit, which apparently looks like phishing, and an investigation determined, according to their breach disclosure that I read, that certain email employee accounts were accessed without authorization between August 28th of 2019 and September 21st, also of 2019. This may include names, addresses, social security numbers, financial information, health insurance information, as well as medical history and treatment information. So it's looking like their employees are most likely the ones that have been susceptible to this. So heads up if you have anything to do with Leduff America Incorporated, part of the one based out of France. And finally, let's talk about what basically is the massive breach for this week that I will probably be reporting on for weeks, if not months, and that would be something that we are calling Blue Leaks. Now, here's what's going on. Hundreds of thousands of potentially sensitive files from police departments across the United States were leaked online. So Blue Leaks, basically this collection called Blue Leaks, was made searchable online and stems from a security breach at a Texas web design and hosting company that maintains a number of state law enforcement data sharing portals. Now, this collection, which is almost 270 gig in total, is the latest release from a group calling themselves the Distributed Denial of Secrets, or DDoS Secrets, which is essentially an alternative to WikiLeaks that publishes caches of previously secret data and documents. Now, in a post on Twitter, DDoS Secrets said that Blue Leaks archive indexes, and I quote, 10 years of data from over 200 police departments, fusion centers, and other law enforcement training and support resources, and that and I quote, among the hundreds of thousands of documents are police and FBI reports, bulletins, guides, and more. Additionally, the data dump contains emails and associated attachments, and this is according to their alert. And again, another tweet from them says, our initial analysis revealed that some of these files contain highly sensitive information, such as ACH routing numbers, obviously for bank accounts, international bank account numbers, which are our IBANs, and other financial data, as well as personally identifiable information, images of suspects listed in requests for information, and other law enforcement and government agency reports. This is a massive bomb dropping across law enforcement from all over the United States. And from what a lot of researchers and what I've read is a lot of people are saying that hackers or hacktivist groups, have been hitting them as a result of the entire Black Lives Matter movement, George Floyd, and all of that. That has yet to be confirmed from what I understand, but that's the way the wind appears to be blowing on this. And by virtue of Blue Leaks, we now have our first round of disclosures by these local and state law enforcement groups. The first one being the Maine Information and Analysis Center, or MIAC, which is a unit of the Maine State Police. Now, they were already under apparently intense scrutiny for allegations of surveillance abuses, and here we go, because leaked documents from MIAC that have been published online include personal information about subjects of police investigations across the state and reveal details of the center's operational activities, which apparently include monitoring Black Lives Matter's protests and activists. Now, according to Brendan McQuaid, who is a professor of criminology at the University of Southern Maine, and who is also a critic, for the record, of MIAC, basically said that the breach exposed an overdeveloped mass surveillance apparatus and could add more fuel to the fire set by the George Floyd rebellion. Now, Maine's Department of Public Safety did not respond to requests for comments from media regarding this breach. And the other breach that we've had disclosed as well is literally on the other side of the country. Maine's on the East Coast. We are going to the state of Washington on the West Coast for the Redmond Police Department, who basically had the same type of information hit from what I just described. So I do not need to go through that in detail, but I predict that as the weeks go on and every Sunday is Breaches of the Week, you're going to hear another police department, state, local, whatever that is, getting caught up in this, because we are talking about a massive amount of police departments that were using this service. So that is going to be a huge ongoing and continuing problem for law enforcement in the United States. And with that, those are your Breaches of the Week. Another bonkers week, and hopefully next week, this upcoming week, will be a lot better. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.